One Radio, your urban music link.
Welcome to Straight to the Point Sports, where I'm here with my regulars, Steve Lopes and Derek Consatio.
What up, everybody?
What's going on? So today is a big day. If you are a football fan, you're sitting by your television wondering who your team is going to draft that could possibly help you this upcoming season. So the season literally starts today.
It's like Christmas
It-
for us.
It literally starts today. So if, like I said, the everybody thinks of training camp, but this is like the prelude to the season.
How you
This
gonna help yourself?
this kicks it off right here, and the draft is taking place tonight in Detroit. So yeah, it's happening tonight. So it'll be happening shortly. Yes, it'll be happening shortly, and we here at WMB1 Radio, we want to be at home watching to see what happens. And I know there's one of us here that has a huge interest in seeing if they can move up to number 3.
I'm hoping to stay where we are.
You are okay.
Yep.
All right. So
I think 2 first-round picks will help us better. We'll have $100 million next year to go get a quarterback. Don't force it. If it's not Drake May or better, don't force it for a JJ McCarthy. I don't think he's.
I heard a rumor on Facebook today talking about. Yeah,
I heard that too, but I don't want to get too excited.
that would be crazy.
But there's no way for them to trade him because it'll be $100 million cap hit
But they're giving up Darashaw too.
because he's due for a contract.
Yeah.
Next year.
They would give up Darashaw and the two first round picks.
Or then we'd be drafting an offense.
I'm lost. I didn't hear about the hurt.
Chargers
I've
and
been seeing that
Vikings.
all week.
Chargers and Vikings making a trade. The Vikings getting the Chargers first round pick. The Chargers and the Vikings giving up Darashaw. Their 2 first round
I
picks.
heard Darius on 1 pick.
Today it was Darashaw and the 2 first.
We were keeping 23.
No,
Yeah.
for Herbert.
Now this is why the San Diego Chargers are the San Diego Chargers.
They were talking about
Because this
They-
guy
they-
wants
they-
his quarterback
they got
and his people.
and
$50
he'll
million a year for Herbert, and he just signed last year.
and he'll get JJ. That's who he wants. If he wants JJ.
we want to keep JJ, the other one.
I look at
Herbert
it.
throwing to him.
I look at
I'm
it
sure
this-
he'll stay.
I look at it this way: if you are a fan of the Chargers, just when you get a
Good coach.
good quarterback, you're going to let him go just like that because you don't want to pay him $50 million.
And it's not his guy.
They got rid of his receivers.
Yeah, all the offensive big money. And he was trying to get rid of Bosa and Matt, but decided he'd hold on to
You
him
gotta
for a
keep-
year.
Yeah.
And he'll rebuild the offense first. If you know anything about Harbaugh, everywhere he's gone, he builds in the trenches first. So wanting Darashaw, I can see that.
I just for me, if I'm a Chargers fan, and correct me if I'm wrong, they're going to be playing in
Who's that? The Chargers.
the Chargers.
They already moved to LA.
Yeah, they're going to be playing in Vegas, right?
Oh, why?
Aren't they? Didn't who?
They just got a new
Nah,
stadium.
the Raiders went to Vegas.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm saying,
Why am I
like-
thinking them?
They got a brand new stadium in
I'm
LA.
like, SoFi just is a brand new stadium. Like,
Mhm.
why would they go to Vegas?
Well, this is what I'm thinking. Don't you want your own stadium?
They got it.
No, they don't.
They share.
SoFi is shared.
It's shared. It's a
Oh.
shared venue. It's a shared venue with
The Rams.
the Rams.
Yeah.
This is what I'm getting at. If I'm a
Like the Clippers.
an owner, yeah. Well, the Clippers, their stadium,
moving.
they're right across the street from SoFi Stadium. Their stadium is off the meter.
They said every new thing. I saw Steve Ballmer get. He said, "I'm so excited. It won't be this year, but next year we'll
Yeah.
be over there."
So when we went to the game 2 years ago, you could actually see the skeletal outlook was up, and it's weird because it was kind of built and shaped like a curvy type thing, almost like
That's how SoFi is.
almost shaped like. But SoFi is underground.
Is it
That's the
really?
thing. SoFi is underground. Yeah. So you're sitting literally in the 200 section and you're at ground level.
Wow.
You're at ground level because it goes into the ground. But that's all the new stadiums are pretty much like that. Dallas was one of the first stadiums to start off like that. So yeah, you're sitting in it. But the stadium, so they're going to have a section. Well, the Clippers, no away fans can sit in those. Like if you have away jerseys, you will be ushered out of the section.
I'm surprised there's no legal ramifications. That's
Why?
saying,
Why?
Black people can't do this, or no Spanish people can't do this.
No.
Limiting people based on
no. You're limiting people based on home field advantage.
So if I go with you, let's say you
You
were a
cannot
Clippers
wear
fan.
any away stuff at all.
Wow,
If
that's
you are
not-
caught, you will be ushered out, and that's all part of the home court thing.
Wow.
You know,
There's
you
places
can
like the dog pound.
you
down
can
in
make
Victoria.
you can make whatever any whatever revisions you want. You're not saying, okay, I'm discriminating against you because you're elderly. I'm discriminating because you're black. Because
You
you're
don't root for our
handicapped.
team.
That's right.
That's discrimination.
That's a home field. How many fans do you see in the dog pound of opposing teams? None.
Might be. They're not restricted.
None. You don't
That's
want to
not-
go
you
there.
don't
You
want
don't
it.
want to go there because they're
Or
gonna
the
throw
Raiders,
stuff at
The
you.
black hole.
The
They're
black
gonna
hole, you
yeah,
don't wanna
yeah,
be there
they're
either.
gonna throw stuff at you. They're gonna deter you from sitting there. That's just like
That's anywhere in New England.
well, but the thing is, right? So I learned, and I
Yeah.
learned rather quickly that if you want to not be bothered, you have to okay. So when we used to go before it was Lincoln Financial, before when it was the Vet, if you didn't want to be bothered, you had to pay for good seats. If you try to sit in the mid to high 200s, where the average seat is, for $200, you're getting stuff thrown at you, and it's that simple. So if you want to, sit in a good, comfortable spot without being harassed, you have to pay for good seats.
Yep.
And that's pretty much at any stadium. If you're gonna sit with the regular folk, they're gonna be bombed out of their mind, and they're gonna be
A lot of places, regular folk, bomb folk are fighting their own fans.
yeah.
It's all video.
So if you want to sit in good seats, chances are you're not going to run into a lot of those problems. But that's the price you have to pay if you want to travel and go to an opposing team's stadium. But yeah, so
Think about how Boggs' thought process about wanting his own team built that way, like willing to get rid of a proven franchise quarterback.
So this is the thing, right? So when you're talking like that, the time is ticking the time is ticking off of your stint there, because let's face it, the average coach, you say 3 years.
3 to 5.
You don't have that much time anymore.
Well, his money.
You don't have that. You don't.
worry about it.
You don't have that much time anymore. So I'd say 3 to 4 years at the most. You can't sit there because now, okay, the 3 to 4 years, he's coming in with people. Okay, so if you're giving up on people, especially you're going to do a reset with a quarterback, that's huge.
For an unproven.
You've got a quarterback already. Build around him. Give him the weapons. The quarterback is the hardest spot to fill.
And the crazy part about it, they got rid of his weapons.
Yeah. Well, listen, I don't know.
They still got 2 offensive line.
I don't know
and that's it.
all the
The
craziness.
rest of the team on offense.
I don't know all the craziness with them. I don't follow them as much, but I would think that you would want to keep a franchise quarterback.
And didn't they get rid of Eckler too?
Yeah.
Yep.
So every offensive weapon, they kept Slater at guard and the other guy they drafted from Boston College, Zion Johnson.
So, but so basically, what they're hanging their hat on is their defense.
Yeah, they kept everybody intact because they still got Derwin James, Bosa.
They still got the edges.
and Mac. Yep.
They still got the edges.
But they were talking about drafting another edge.
They
to
still got.
replace
They
one of them.
still got the good corners. They got good corners.
Derwin James is a safety. I
Yeah.
forgot who their corners are.
They got somebody. They picked somebody up in the draft. The kid was pretty good. I forget his name. They got decent corners. Linebackers.
They cut one of the kids they drafted from LSU, I think. He was there for like 4 years, 5 years.
So now you're looking at a total rebuild job. That's That's at least 2.5 to 3 years off taken off of, and look at the division he's in.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a tough division.
It's a competitive division. So, hey, listen, if you want to do it, go right ahead. But I mean, the clock is ticking on your contract.
From my end, I wouldn't mind that deal, but I don't see that happening. And all intents and purposes I've heard is that the top three want to stay in the top three spots, and the Vikings only want to move up for May. So if it's not May, they're willing to stay at 11 and consider Penix that early. They're hoping to come back to Penix at 23, but the Raiders are almost definitely going to take Penix at 13, 14.
Yeah.
And it's funny because after us, it goes Denver and Oakland. I mean, Denver and the Raiders. And the Chargers aren't going to let them trade up to 5.
No.
So that helps us. 2 of the quarterback needy teams, they're not going to trade up because you don't, unless you're dumb like us with you guys, you don't do business in the division. But
yeah. So if you are a football junkie, grab your popcorn because the NFL draft tonight should be interesting. What I'm wondering is, I'm seeing all these teams clamoring over these quarterbacks. That is a big thing. Don't go out of your way if they're not in your way, or they're going to fall to you. Don't move up 9 places. That's overpaying, because you move up 7, 8. You could literally get a veteran, somebody that is going to carry you and piece together a season.
And you're not married to forever.
Exactly. And the thing with quarterbacks nowadays is quarterbacks don't have that leeway to sit and watch. These quarterbacks are going to come out and they're going to be thrust right into the limelight.
Thanks to people like CJ Stroud.
Yeah. But this is the way it's been over the last 3 years. The quarterback position is the most sought after, and teams are overpaying. They're overpaying for quarterbacks that shouldn't be getting paid that much, but it's the value placed on the quarterback position, to no fault of their own. And it's the most valued position in the league. And it's most evident by what they get paid for, what they get paid. You look at their pay, right? There's a huge disparity. It goes quarterbacks, wide receivers. They're literally probably about $20 million a pop.
Easily.
So your guy just reset the market, right?
Yep.
What is his contract?
It was
30 million.
4 years for 120.
Yep.
$30 million, right? All right.
Just
So
exactly what the Cheetah makes, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, he was the first $30 million guy.
Yeah. So
He's tied for the highest.
CeeDee Lamb is, like licking his chops, like,
Saying, I'm getting at least 32, 33 now.
Yeah, he's
And
gonna
that
up.
That guy is saying 34, 35.
Yeah, it's just gonna keep going up and up.
The funny part about it is, like, a lot of stuff online is talking about by signing St. Brown, it's crippling the Vikings. At first, I was like, why are they saying that?
No, I can see it right away.
Because what's going to happen is JJ's
Force
like,
him
yo,
to
if he's
pay
getting that, I want more.
Yeah.
So it's going to cripple you guys.
Yeah. So it's just, like I said, it just goes to show you that every year it's just gonna go up, and it's gonna go up and up and up and up. Oh, there it is, right there, Santi Samuel Jr. But yeah, it's one of those things that the quarterbacks, you don't have time to sit them. Before, it used to be like, okay, get him, let him sit a year, let him sit and learn. These quarterbacks are coming right out the chute.
Yeah.
They're getting thrown right into the fire.
There's no.
They're getting thrown right
no
into the
sit-
fire.
Better see if you got somebody who can handle it.
Yeah, they're getting thrown right into the fire. Once upon a day, it was, like I said, it was always okay. Let's just let him sit,
Let him
learn,
Yeah.
and hold the clipboard, and no, they're right in there. They're competing right at the rip, and they're like I said, they're getting thrust right into the fire. So like I said, if you're not there, if you're not within a couple, maybe even a few draft picks, don't go out of your way to pay for these quarterbacks. I don't. There's not one quarterback that I can look at and say, okay, he's bona fide, sure, he's going to be a hit.
That Trevor Lawrence draft class. Oh, he's the only one that's still
Yes.
starting.
Yes.
Everybody else has been traded.
Yes.
Justin Fields,
Yes.
Matt Jones. Nobody's even with their same team. And look how much San Fran moved up for Trey Lance.
And don't even have him.
Yep.
Didn't
And then
even
they went
play.
with the last guy.
Gave up
That's
two
the
number
formula
ones.
I want to follow.
Gave up
Keep
two
my
number ones.
Yeah. And we'll play a little gambling. We'll see what Donald got to hold down the fort. But we're going to be over $100 million in salary cap next year. We can go out and get a free agent and invest in a proven quarterback. But if you lay another offensive lineman and a great pass rusher on my team, we've gotten better with the additions we had. Now it's just plug and play. We got you the tools already. Let's go get a quarterback. I'd rather do that.
There's a question for you.
Derek.
What do you want your Lions to draft?
At that late in the draft, the best edge rusher or the best cornerback available.
Yeah.
But not if it's the fourth best at that position.
No.
Then I'd rather get another need where it's the second or best at that position.
Yeah. So the you know, like I said, the biggest question mark for me is I can't look at any one of these quarterbacks and say, okay, he's a sure thing, bona fide. He's going to be there in 4 years.
And some quarterbacks fit better with certain
Systems, yeah.
So if they go to the right team, like Washington,
But think about it, right? We all said Mac Jones was getting put into the right system when he first got drafted, right? We all thought that going to the Patriots,
because that first year he had an offensive.
Well, no. But think about it, right? When he was going to the Patriots, we were like, oh, he's going to the Patriots, the Patriot way, good defense. He's going to be okay. He's going to be fine, right? And that couldn't be further than the truth. It was 1 year, one and done.
His first year he was good.
One and
then
done.
The talent started disappearing.
One and done.
He ended up with more talent in college than he had in the pros.
One and done. By no fault. I mean, it wasn't his fault. I mean, he was basically he was given no offensive coordinators, guys that were just horrible defensive guys.
Because he's your friend.
He had so he didn't have the same coordinator for the first 3 years.
Nope.
And the disrespect to give him a defensive coordinator is just like that's
he had two defensive coordinators trying to call the offense.
That is embarrassing.
That was crazy.
That's embarrassing. That just can't happen. Especially with a young quarterback.
You know who I see as this year's Mac Jones? Bo Nix. I don't want to see somebody's going to move up to take him, and I see him being the same type of career as a Mac Jones. He's not as good as people had hoped. He's a good intermediate passer, but he doesn't throw the long ball.
I like Bo Nix.
I don't like Bo Nix. He was struggling at Auburn, and then he went over there, and it was a system fit. He played better, but everything was 20, 25 yards and under.
For me,
timing.
That's their offense,
right?
Hitting the offense.
But I don't know if that's going to work in the NFL.
For me, listen. For me, even like I said, even the top three quarterbacks, I cannot definitively say that they are going to be the guys that will be with the team in 3 years. I can't.
The press clippings on Caleb Williams that he's a better prospect than Andrew Luck. I don't know.
Not even close.
Him and Drake May both had better junior years because they had better talent.
Not even close.
Addison was playing with Williams. Williams did it at Ohio State and did it at USC. So I believe he has talent, but I don't think he's the best prospect since Andrew Luck.
No. I think that teams are so needy at that spot that they're making these quarterbacks out more than what they really are.
Honestly, I think Daniels is the best quarterback out of them all. My opinion.
The only thing I'm worried about him is he has to put on some weight, but he can do that in time.
Yeah.
Don't make the mistake Anthony Richardson, who was much bigger, he ran a little too much. He
ran a lot
dinged up, and then he was out for the year.
You know something?
He was so effective at it.
But that's the worst thing that could happen.
I know.
Is to be so successful so soon. You forget because let's face it, you're making the transition from the college game, which is you're heavy on running, and you're predominantly a bigger guy. And then when you come into the league, now
everybody's just big.
Everybody's just as big, just as fast. You get linemen that are running, 4.6, 4.7 40s, and that's the worst thing that could have happened to him. For him to be able to run so successfully right away, because now in his mind is like,
I can do this.
I was liking that team last year.
This isn't bad.
And I thought they had a chance. They still almost made the playoffs, right? And when he went down, Pittman was loving it. And then the running back came back and they squashed that beef with the owner. And they already got a good offense. The offensive line was healthy with Quentin Nelson and them. And then the quarterback goes down.
Yeah,
I wanted to see what they could do and then see them build their defense this year. I think they're going to take Brock Bowers this year to give him another weapon. But he can't run.
You know
who? Colts 15. They said that will be the furthest Brock Bowers goes, between 10 and 15. But they said the Colts will not let him go by them.
He's good.
Yeah, but do you want, because you know what the pays are slotted, do you want to draft a tight end that high and he gets, but if the top 3 wide receivers are off the board, I saw ESPN make this point on NFL Live today. If the top 3 wide receivers are off the board, is he the next best wide receiver, better than Thomas of LSU, who's Brian Thomas, who's 6'4" and a speed guy? But they're saying he's better than if you need a receiver, take the best tight end, because when this contract comes up, what does a wide receiver do? So I would take Brock Bowers, who's he's better than the 4th wide receiver. That made sense to me.
Yeah.
And then when it comes time to negotiate, you're negotiating as a tight end, not a wide receiver. You see what these guys are getting.
Yeah. The wide receivers, it's just like we said, the second highest paid position.
Yep. And that's going up rapidly.
Yeah. All these guys that are coming up with contracts not helping the system. It's not helping it. They're coming up one right after another. I mean, it's not like they don't deserve it. They're doing big things.
Yeah, it's a passing league.
Yeah, so they're just uplifting any wide receivers who may be franchised for that 1 year. You're looking at 30, probably 27, 28 million dollars once you hit the top 5. Next year, the base will probably be $30 million.
You like what your team did, right?
Yeah, of course.
But how much does all 3 of those signings this year? What's that? Over $100 million a year?
What? We only signed 2 people.
Didn't you sign Goff too?
Not yet.
Oh, well, he's proven he's going to get $40 million.
He's next.
So Sewell is now the highest paid offensive lineman.
Yep.
The wide receiver temporarily is the highest paid
wide receiver.
So that's 30 and 28. So that's 58 right there. And then your quarterback's going to get 40. You're going to have $100 million tied up in 3 guys. What's going to stink is you're going to have these diamonds in the rough that you find low, and then they're going to want to get paid somewhere else. They were a bargain. You guys draft real well. Now it's no secret. A lot of guys you drafted last year. Who was the safety? Brian Branch.
Yep.
We ain't going to have enough money to pay him if he keeps playing better. So then he leave. But that's just it. You made your decision on those 3 guys, and then your tight end's going to be up that same year as Brian Branch. Now it becomes decision time.
That's 3 years though.
Yeah, but there's other guys probably that I'm just saying it makes it hard to keep the guys that you did a great job scouting and had them on a low contract.
Yeah.
And you're giving these guys that much money? Then I want to get. I can't get paid. Somebody else will give it to me.
Not for nothing. The guys that got it deserve it.
But did they overpay?
Yeah.
The thing is,
It's cheaper to do it now.
The thing that I see, right, is we've always been in positional players. We've always been so it didn't. When I say positional players, I'm talking about top position. I'm talking about the QB, the running back, the wide receiver, the tight end, the edge rusher. We've always had, and will continue to have, because he does the same thing. In all those positions that I just named, at least one of those players are always in the top 5, and that can't happen. It cannot happen. You look at a team like San Francisco, all right?
They seem to be able to pay everybody, but
they're gonna be hurting soon.
But this is the thing, all right? They lucked out so early with Mahomes. You could go around and you could draft around him.
Oh, that's
what I'm
Kansas
saying.
City.
Well, who you said? You said Miami.
You said San Fran.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Kansas City. I meant Kansas
I'm
City.
thinking Purdy's keeping.
I meant Kansas City. So you think about it, right? They just obviously came up with the lineman. They obviously let the wide receiver go.
Yeah, Janarius Sneed. Yep.
No. Cheetah. They obviously let him go. They were like, you know what? We have more confidence in our quarterback than we do in the wide receiver.
Quarterback can make other people great.
That's right. So they were like, okay, you can go. We still got our mainstay. and a guy that's Kelsey. But you know what? Tight ends aren't making the money that wide receivers are.
And that was the argument I was making earlier.
So we can afford to keep him,
tight end,
and we can bring people in, and we can grab free agents, from here and there, short-term contracts.
And they drafted some good rookies with those picks they got for him. Until
Yes.
this dude messed up this year.
Yeah. But this is the thing. You don't find them in the top 5 in every single one of those positions.
No.
It ultimately it handicaps your team because you're not able to keep certain players that you did draft well.
And that's what I was saying to Derek. That might happen with the Lions. Like,
It down the road.
great job drafting.
It's
but
it's
down
a
the road, everybody's going to
it's-
want to get paid, and there's only
it's-
so much money.
It's a blessing, but on the back end, it's like, oh my god, it becomes a curse.
And who knows? Down the road, the salary caps might be higher again.
But the TV contracts are going to go up. It's the number one viewed sports
You're-
outside of
you're-
soccer
you're-
out of the country.
So for the TV contracts, is what is it? Every 2?
I think
years?
it's every 2 years.
All right. So now you got 2.
which
So
is great. So,
so
it doesn't
you-
take that long to renegotiate.
yeah. Well, yeah. No, because it's sharing. It's obviously so every team benefits from from the
Profit sharing.
yeah, profit sharing from the TV revenues. But like I said, in the beginning, it's a blessing. On the backside, it's a curse. So you just got to roll with it. You got to roll with the punches. I've been rolling with this now for the last 20 years. And, it's like, okay, you got the top running back. You got the top wide receiver. You got a top quarterback. You got top edge rushers. You got top cornerback. You got top safeties. I'm like, we can't pay everybody. Because what are you going to do in the, what about the guys that are in the, the medium spots?
Yes.
Exactly.
They're important to the makeup of your
Exactly.
team, but
Exactly.
you got to offer them fair market value. And at a point,
Exactly.
you get like we made our decision who we're keeping.
So you want to know something that was interesting? Something that I learned this week. The Cowboys wanted to sign Tyron Smith, but the money that was that they had that they ultimately were still paying out money that was left over from Ezekiel Elliott. All right, that was dead cap money. They literally were probably like $2.5-3 million off, and that money right there was the decider. So this dead cap money, every time you cut somebody, see how it comes into play and it comes into effect, and that's what happened with him. He had $5 million in dead cap money that they had to eat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that money could have gone to be used to sign Tyron Smith for 2 years. And they just didn't have it.
Kicking the can down the road.
Exactly.
Sounds good, but
Exactly.
eventually you got to pay the piper.
Exactly. So, a lot of people they look and they're like, it don't mean anything. Oh, it means a whole hell of a lot because that money follows you down the end. You give out and you pay out. So when you restructure contracts, you pull the money forward, you kick some back. It looks all fine and dandy, but when that player's not there, it doesn't look fine and dandy. It comes back to kick you in the ass.
Sure it does.
And ultimately, that's what happened.
So do you think your team is a definite at what position they're going for?
Oh, it's going to be.
Interior line?
It's going to be. Yeah, it has to be because
There's so much depth at offense at line this year.
Yeah, you have to. So I think
They're
they're going
to get a perennial starter.
They're going.
This
Oh yeah, they have to.
This might be a record for how many offensive linemen going.
They have to.
Whether you go center, guard, tackle, it's like 7 deep out of the first rounders.
They have to because they don't have no depth, so they have to go out and they have to pluck from the draft right away. That whoever they draft is going to come in. They're going to be a day one starter.
They're gonna get a D3 guy again, first round.
No. They're going to be. But a lot of people made fun of Smith, and he turned out to be solid.
I certainly
And
made fun of him. I was like, who? When there was other people on the board,
Even he was.
I was pissed too because
none of us
because
knew.
they reached.
That's great scouting.
They
None of us
reached-
knew who it was.
They reach somebody who was who
You got him in the third
could have
round.
been in the third
They
round.
thought they were the only ones on him and found out other people
Yeah.
liked him too, and they said we better grab him now.
But
will come
come to
around.
find out, he obviously he was there. He could flip flop. He could go.
Versatile.
He could play on either side of the ball. He could go for, play either position. So it's like, wait a second. And now they're saying they're going to move him over to cover Dak's weak side.
The left
Yep.
guard or tackle.
It doesn't make a difference. He can play whatever. He can play what he's played both of them.
Yeah.
He's played both positions. So He's the type, like I said, we were like all in all last year, like, wait a second, this guy led in holding penalties.
Yeah.
And we're saying to ourselves, we're like, wait, what's going on here? Come to find out, he was literally, the best offensive lineman that they had. He played every game, and he played two different positions on two different sides. So I mean, versatility does count. So
Yeah,
Do
sure
you have a
does.
preference for like guard, tackle, or center, or you just need somebody good at one of those positions?
yeah, we need
lost
help.
the center, and I think
Yeah,
that's
we need
important.
we need help all
Yeah,
along.
Jackson Powers, whatever his name is from Oregon.
We need
He's good.
Yeah,
we
top
need
ranked center.
we need help in both of those positions. How it comes, it doesn't make a difference. You have to, because let's face it, you can have a great wide receiver, you can have a great quarterback, but if you don't have anybody blocking, what great is that?
I just think it's harder to find a center because they call the offense for
Yeah.
the lineman.
Well, that's the
So
thing.
if you got somebody that controls the whole line. That's more important.
You have to. You're the offensive Mike.
Yep.
Oh, he'd be gone by the time Dallas picks.
You're the offensive.
They have to trade up for that kid.
Yeah, no, they're not going to get him.
Well, Dallas is where, because
2022 or 23.
I think they can get them close to that. Like they might only have to move up 4 spots, but they might
24. They're
require
24.
a flip flop in the second round or something like.
They're 24. So the projections for them are they're going to go offensive lineman,
I've heard Tyler Guyton,
offensive
oh,
lineman,
God.
and then from there, depending on who's available, you might see them jump. They might be one of the first teams to jump at at a running back.
I thought they're
second
going to
round.
definitely second round. They're going to do it because
They're going to
they
be one
want
of the
their
first
picks.
teams.
You
They
need
want
it.
a Trey Benson
They need it.
or
Yeah.
I forgot the other dude's name. He played at a
They're going to be.
smaller school, but
They're going to go.
they're
They're going to
better than
go.
everybody else.
They're going to go off schedule because running backs, obviously, they've been devalued. Third round
Yeah.
is when you start plucking them off.
And if
the
you get
board.
another offensive lineman and you get a guy who can run behind him, he's going to be happy.
So they're going to go. They're going to buck the schedule, and they should go. They should end up going running back. But yeah, it's just one of those things. So before we get too in depth, we've been on NFL. Let's jump over to the NBA playoffs. So this is how it's going to work.
Surprise.
This is how it's going to work. We're going to split it up. We're going to talk about the teams that would obviously who have the series who are tied at 1-1, and then we'll take care of the 2-0. So there's 3 teams, 3 different series, I should say, that are tied 1-1. Celtics and Heat 1-1, Bucks and Pacers 1-1, Clippers and Mavs 1-1. Only three. All others are 2-0. So we'll start and we'll talk about the Celtics and Heat first. That was, that I think that out of all the games, I think that was obviously the biggest shocker. Seeing the Celtics won the first game by 20 points.
I didn't think they'd lose at home.
And at one point, they were up by 32 points in the 34 points in the game 1. Yesterday's game brought back memories of last year's
When
Chuck
Miami.
Miami.
of
Yeah,
last year's
yeah.
of last year's game. It
20,
was
23 3-pointers made.
it was
And taking a lot themselves.
eerily similar. The Heat, they set a postseason record. It was 23. They were 23 out of 43. All right, 54%. When you're hitting 54% from long range, you're gonna win.
And you know what else? I saw you mention it too, and I was thinking this when I was watching it. What the hell gets into Caleb Martin when he plays against the Celtics?
Yeah.
I don't
He
know.
looks like he's like he has a magic wand when he plays. He looks way better against them. I don't know
Against any other team.
if it's the matchups. He feels confident.
But you know the sad part about it yesterday, they were not closing out on him. It was like wide open shots.
Yep.
They didn't believe him.
No hands in the face, nothing.
Tyler Hero played really good.
Yes, Tyler Hero. He
Played above his years. He ain't afraid of nothing.
listen. So what was more important with Tyler Hero was the fact that he led them in double, but he had 14 assists.
Which that surprised me because he's an off guy.
Yes.
He's not but
14
Well,
assists.
Jimmy Butler called him before the game. I didn't know Jimmy Butler didn't make the trip, but they said, or he called him. He didn't go to the game.
He said
but
you're only going to take
he
as
said,
far
"You
as
gotta-
you go.
Yeah, you have to lead, and you lead by getting everybody involved. That was a phone call. Now, mind you, Tyler Hero just threw a punch at him
Yeah,
last
but
week.
if that was true,
That's
but
not true.
They said it was semi-true, but it wasn't as bad as the media made it out to be, or the jokes.
that was that was a meme. I don't
Yeah,
even
he's
think
like
it's true.
9 for 27. Throw a punch. You
9
missed
for
again. 9 for 28. But
Yeah.
that's the respect he has for Jimmy Butler. And Jimmy Butler couldn't physically play, but he still contributed because he got the message to Tyler Hero, who executed perfectly. That was the perfect storm. Caleb Martin played well. They hit all those threes.
All five of
Boston
their
got
starters.
line on the damn three again, and they weren't hitting.
All five of their starters were in double figures.
Bam Adebayo, I like his style of play because it's defense and offense, and he looks a lot more dominant on offense. Like you put him in the post 1-on-1, he can score. I thought his
21.
offense
He had
was
21
shaky.
and 10.
Yeah.
Caleb
Couple
Martin
blocks.
had 21 points. He was 5 out of 6 from 3-point.
Cool.
My,
yeah?
5 out of 6.
The fact that he took 6, does he even stop?
Yeah, he
Oh,
started.
he's starting now because
Yeah.
there's no Jimmy.
Yeah, there's no but. Yeah. And Jaime Jaquez and the dude Joe. They
had a good
14
rookie
and
year.
11. 14 and 11.
that Jaquez kid, he's quiet but sneaky.
But
He's
getting
aggressive.
it done
He's
on
aggressive.
the road
He's
surprised me. I thought I was going to predict they did that game 1 in Miami to steal one. But-
You want to know? So I started looking at. I knew it, but I was looking at the overall stats. Porzingis 6 points. He was minus 32. Minus 32. Holiday 9 points. Horford 6 points. Hauser 6 points. Pritchard did not score. 0 points. 0. These are all guys in game 1 that had double digits.
Yeah.
Did not score. Okay, Porzingis had 20. I think he had 22 points in game 1. All right, he had 6 points. He was minus 32. All right, there was only 2 guys that were scoring. It was the 2 Jays. One had 30. One had 33, and the other one had 28. Without them, everybody else was below normal. Below
Holiday really disappointed me too because I seen him play and I loved his game. I love what he contributes. He didn't feel like he stepped up. I don't know if he's just deferring to the Jays too much and afraid to. He's capable.
But even when he tried offensively, he turned the ball over a few times, missed some bunnies, missed some bunnies.
Bad game, but
I think collectively
It was a bad game.
I think yeah, it was.
yeah,
It was
but
a really
he's
bad.
so much better than he showed.
But you know what?
Porzingis,
So you know what my takeaway from the game was? I think that the Heat got up in the Celtics. They just challenged them. They challenged them. They got up in them. They made them feel uncomfortable. And I don't think that it was reciprocated from the Celtics. On the other hand, they were just kind of going through the motions. They weren't in their face. They weren't pressing. Nothing. They just kind of took it like, yeah, okay, we're gonna just because we're the Celtics, and when you looked at it, they basically led wire to wire. Other than the 3-minute spurt that they went on where Jaylen Brown scored 11 points in the final 3 minutes to give them a full point lead going into the half. Because as soon as they came out, they went on a 10-2 run and they took the lead. So for me, they basically led wire to wire. Like I said, other than that the 11-point outburst that he had, they led wire to wire. You take that away, they led wire to wire. And I just feel that they didn't meet the type of physicality that they needed to. Now they know it. Now you should see it. All right. But to me, that's all about, yesterday, obviously you have to go out and you have to, your players have to play, but it's small things. So, and they kept on pointing it out yesterday about them not doubling, letting the Celtics have open shots. They weren't so quick to help down in the post. They were fainting, and then when the Celtics did have the ball, they made it tough for them. They were literally up in their shorts, and the Celtics didn't do the same thing. I don't know how many times I watched. How many times I watched the kid there, Martin, with open jump shots. They literally, the last 2 that he hit, Holiday was like a man and a half away and did this. I'm saying to myself, how many times are you going to let him shoot? How many times are you going to literally just like not close out? With respect, these are NBA players. On any given night, those are just warm up shots.
Yeah.
That you play in the
Especially with
NBA.
nobody in their face.
Yeah, you play in the NBA. It just isn't going to happen.
Well, I got another question I want to pose to especially you, but I want Derek's opinion too. I think the Celtics have a talent advantage. The Heat have a coaching advantage.
Yeah.
And sometimes that over all the things Brian was saying, not doubling, letting them shoot, that's adjustments that Spoelstra made.
Yeah.
But
And
I don't see in-game adjustments from the Celtics. It's like go out, shoot threes, and
That's
let
it.
our talent beat you. And I see things happening for too long. He doesn't shut it down, call a timeout, and make in-game adjustments.
He doesn't do that.
Spoelstra, I think, is top 3 in the league for coaches.
So Missoula doesn't like using timeouts.
You better learn.
He doesn't like using
the
them.
offseason pretty soon.
He pretty much, things have to really be going south. He likes to let them figure it out, as he says.
But didn't they hire some more experienced coaches on the bench that maybe would, hey man, we need a timeout?
Listen,
somebody to kind of help him along with that.
He's the ultimate. He has the ultimate say.
They probably don't. He might not be listening to them.
He is.
They probably like.
Anything short of making it to the championship, I think he's on the hot seat.
Yeah,
because it's going to be obvious. You got talent on that team, and with Tatum's contract coming up next year, it's going to be you haven't won with Tatum and Brown yet. Now you're going to pay Tatum all this money, which is going to be the same thing we mentioned in football. Whoop, now we can't keep some of the other guys because Porzingis makes good money. Holiday makes good money.
They just re-signed Holiday.
Yes. So you're not going to have a long bench anytime soon because there's only so much money to go around. Missoula has to win with these guys.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but that's how it is. Hold on, we get a call in. WMB1 Radio.
Yes, I'm calling in, please.
Okay, you're not in line though. Go ahead, Alex. Give us your thought on the Celtics.
Very disappointed. First of all, they're slow pace, pushing the ball up the court. They were walking the ball up there. I think they were not successful on the offensive side when they walked the ball up the court.
Well, the two things you got,
and their inability to cover the 3-point line was a problem.
Yeah, I pointed that out. But there's one thing you got to take into account too, right? When you're shooting the ball very well, there's no you're taking the ball out. That's half the battle, and being able to move at a faster pace. And even when they made off of the misses, they were turning the ball over, and a lot of bad shots were taken too. It's kind of hard to gauge with them because when we say they took bad shots, they take a lot of those shots. It's just that when the games are closer, the shots get more magnified.
Yes, they do.
So it's kind of hard to gauge and say what's a bad shot, what's a good shot, because in a lot of games they'll make bad shots and they'll make it look good. But what happens when the games are close and you take those bad shots, then they become magnified. But you were like, wait a second, in the game before he took that shot and he made it. But the thing to being able to move at a faster pace is you got to have misses, and he shot 54% from the floor, from 3-point range. And it didn't help either that the Celtics didn't have any supporting cast. They had nobody on their bench step up.
When you look at the offense as well, I mean, lack of offensive rebounds too. It was like a one shot and done, and you push it, the ball's going the other way.
Because everybody's on the perimeter. Who's going to rebound?
Yeah. That's it too.
Chucking up threes
themselves. So game one, there was a huge disparity in offensive rebounds. I think the Celtics had almost 34 second chance points. Yesterday, I think they only had 16. It was cut in half.
Did you notice they were on the perimeter all looking for threes more?
Yeah, well, no.
Now there's nobody in the paint to rebound.
Well,
even Porzingis is
so this is the thing. With Porzingis, he got the ball in at the free throw line so many times, and he wasn't definitive with a lot of his moves. He got the ball and was doing this, and it was like he was almost looking for a double team, and the double team wasn't coming. Then when he got the ball, he turned and he was like, "Oh, should I jab at him? Should I?" And then let me take. Listen, you're 7'2". The guy that's covering you is 6'9",
and he can put the ball on the ground.
The guy that's covering you is 6'9". He should be able to get the ball, turn face up, and shoot unbothered by anybody.
Yep.
It's a free throw, but a jumper. He like I said, he had 6 points. He was minus 32. That is horrendous.
That's not good at all.
Minus 32. That's horrendous.
Do you think it is his problem is he's not used to playing this late into the season and his
Nah.
body's warped?
No.
And I think he's already adapted to the Celtics
Yeah,
way of doing
has.
things. Him and Holiday just didn't have good games, and without a deep bench, you need those two to help out the Jays.
I know, but I'm saying, do you think it's fatigue because his body's not used to playing this many?
I just
No,
think he
because
has
they
that-
rested him. They rested him.
Yeah.
They rested him. They did a
He
lot of
wasn't aggressive.
load management with him. He didn't play any back-to-backs. He took some added time off down the towards the end of the season. Last year, he actually played more games for the Wizards than he played for the Celtics this year, and he was healthy.
So, question, Alex, what was the biggest takeaway for you? What would you say they need to change to get back on pace?
Well, I think they need to speed up the pace of play, definitely. And I think on transition defense, I think you have to run them off on the 3-point arc. You have to, if you're not running them off the arc, or you're not switching up there and forcing them to go inside, because they only have one physical presence in the inside of the paint, right? You know what that is, right? So if they don't, right, exactly. So if they're not picking up the pace of play, okay, attacking the rim on a consistent basis, if you want to shoot 3-pointers, at least attack the rim and kick it out on offense. That works a lot for them. But if they don't do that, I tell you what, remember, this is a 5-game series, I believe, coming up. Is that correct?
Nah, 7.
There are no 5
That's a 5.
They
There's no
stopped-
5, so it's
they
a
stopped
7.
that.
They're all 7.
The first series is not 5?
Not anymore.
No, that hasn't been that way in
At
like.
least 3 or 4
Okay,
years.
okay.
So
But
go ahead.
good.
So my
ahead.
biggest takeaway from the game was the physicality in which was played against them, and the lack of physicality that they didn't play against Miami. Miami was up in their grills, up on them, doing just what you said, running them off the 3-point line, and they were settling. So the driving kicks, I think that is key. But conversely, I think on the defensive side of the ball, I think they need to stop like letting people shoot. The closeouts were horrendous yesterday. There was no closeouts. These guys were just taking target practice at every chance you get. It wasn't like they were dribbling and pulling up. They were just like move the ball once, go around a pick, kick out to a wing, wide open 3. It's like, come on, you got to close out. Your defensive intensity should have been at the same level it was as Miami's was, and it wasn't there. It wasn't there.
When you're trying to catch the title and you're trying to make a statement, I don't think you go back. I think you have to look at there from last year and this year, or maybe a couple of years. Their winning percentage at home has not been good
Horrible.
in the playoffs.
They're a game over 500.
So
They're a game over 500. Yesterday they were 2 games over 500. They're a game under 500. I think it's 14-13 in the last 4 years.
At home.
At home. That can't happen. You have to protect home court. You can't do what you
if
did.
anything, you have to protect it.
Yeah, that's
If
what I'm
anything, you got to protect the home court. So if you look at it for a quick sample, second game, what have they changed from us to think that this might be the same old Celtics?
Well, it's
They've added Porzingis.
the only thing that you can look at it that you could say is the same is the willingness to continue to chuck up shots from the outside. And this, I get worried about it because it's great when they're falling, but when they're not falling and the game's close, you go from 50-50 to just think about what you shoot at a 3-point range. If you're 40% now, it goes to 60-40. The percentages go down. They don't go up, they go down. So that's the thing with me. I think that in a playoff setting, number one, you're going to see shortened rotations. No matter who you play, you're not going to see 10 guys deep. You're going to see 7-8 guys playing minimum. All right. And so what has to happen now is your starters are going to end up playing, added minutes. Your bench is going to shrink as well. You have to be more efficient. And if the efficiency calls for you to take less threes, to drive to the hole, then you're going to have to do it. You can't just come down and continue to chuck up three after three after three. I get that's what you did all season, but this isn't regular season. It's postseason. The play is going to be a lot tougher, a lot different. You have to change things up somewhat. I'm not saying go and make a full overhaul of your offense, but at times you're going to, if you're missing, you're going to have to go to the rim. The old adage, see the ball go through the hole, right?
Exactly.
And that's why I think that for the Celtics, that's why I think is, what makes me think about them being the same as last year. It's the willingness and the continuousness to keep throwing up threes, even when you're down, or they're not falling. You can't have the shooter's mentality. I'm going to keep shooting until it goes in, because at one point in time you're going to have to get a guaranteed bucket.
Exactly. So either when you travel into the old school philosophy is, if your jumper is not working for you, you attack the rim. You're either going to get a layup or you're going to get the foul. And now you're going to put them in the bonus. You get foul trouble and create, right? So that didn't happen yesterday at all. I didn't see any of that unfold in that game. No. So realistically, I saw Brown attack the rim, but it just wasn't consistent throughout the game.
Yeah, no. So
right.
Brown pretty much is the only one on a
exactly
on a consistent basis. Everyone else is more, they're more up to settle. Brown will go to the basket more than anyone else. Fact.
And Tatum's so effective, but he doesn't go enough.
Yeah.
Like, he's one of the best people going to the basket. He's quick off the dribble. He's got the size. He's got the hops. There's every reason for him to drive more, but he relies on the jump shot way too much.
Yeah, you settle. And he has the ability to get by guys, and to finish at the rim. And even if he doesn't finish, there's your kick out.
He's a 6'10" athletic dude.
Yeah, that can beat you off the.
There's your kick out.
That's crazy.
But we talk to people, and people, this is how they played all year. Sometimes you have to morph into something a little different. You have to add to your game. And
that's where the coach comes in.
You have to add to your game.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Everyone, because I was about to say that.
Everyone at what point?
Your point was made correct, because the coach.
Saying Brian or mine, because the coach. He said you had a morph, and I was saying change the.
No. The head coach never made any adjustments.
Exactly.
None. He made no adjustments throughout the game. So again, talking about previous years, questioning their shot selection when the 3-pointer is not working, that was a question mark. 2, coach's decisions, coach's ability to take away what the opposing team is doing. Again, I'm just saying, small sample, one game.
Can't repeat it.
Yeah,
can't repeat that.
I've been on record, and I always say it. And before the series started, you can go back and look at my social media. I said the Celtics in 6, and a lot of people laughed at me, and they're like, "Why are you saying 6? They're gonna sweep them." I go, "They're not gonna sweep them, because there's going to be a game or two where the Celtics aren't hitting. It's just numbers." And as you progress more into the latter rounds, the defense is only going to get better. This is why I said now you might have to change your game up some. Instead of being so reliant on the 3, you might have to listen. If you go to the basket, teams are like, they might be shocked, like, goddamn, they're going to the basket.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
This ain't the Celtics.
Yeah, they're so. Their train of thought is like, okay, we have to protect against the 3-point line. So you go in a reverse.
They need their old coach back.
That ain't happening. But yeah, I've gone on record and I've said it. I've said that I'm not a big Missoula fan. I don't like.
You've always said that.
Yeah, I don't.
You've always said that, and yeah, and I get that. But one other thing that we haven't discussed was the fact that the Heat in the first game was double teaming,
Yeah.
right? They were double teaming the ball.
Yeah.
They made an adjustment not to double team. So they went man to man, mano mano, right?
Exactly.
Player. And that threw the Celtics off. Again, adjustments.
The Spoelstra factor.
First game, the second. Exactly. You and it's evident that you see that.
Yeah, he's out.
You see that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Minus their best player, he found a way to win.
Two best players.
Oh yeah, that's
Rozier too.
I forget about Rozier being on their team.
So yeah, it just goes to show you that coaching matters. I put in my post 1 through 15 matters, but the 16th guy who is the coach ultimately matters the most. And if it ever comes down to a game 7, I am not completely satisfied with having him as a coach in a game 7 because I think he can get out schemed. Lack of experience for him and stubbornness for him, for more so stubbornness. I mean, these weaknesses have been pointed out, and he continues sometimes to do the same things, and it doesn't work. But yeah, it is what it is at this point. I still believe that the Celtics will win in 6 games. I think they sadly I think that.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
I am. Butler's not there.
I know.
So you knew if
wasn't there
Butler was
yesterday.
there,
He wasn't
that's
there yesterday.
crazy.
But you know what?
He wasn't there yesterday.
You know
either.
what? I think a team with the coach behind them, coaching matters. And I think their style
Big time.
of game, it's no secret that they've been the Celtics nemesis over the last 3 years.
Yep.
And their style of game, I think, it plays right into playing the Celtics well.
And their familiarity.
Yes,
with the Celtics,
exactly.
They're not intimidated like
No.
other teams. They
No.
played them so much in the playoffs in the regular season. They're not intimidated. That goes a lot. Their confidence against the Celtics
And they've
is sky
beaten them.
high.
Yeah,
beating them.
exactly.
Yes, and to do it without Rozier and Butler, and I don't even know if Butler's expected to come
No,
back
he's
at
not.
all.
No,
he's definitely out the first.
Rozier might be. He's a game time decision on Saturday, so they might have him.
Yeah, they might steal one more home game, but
I
expect the Celtics to win 4-1 or 4-2.
I expect them to split in Miami, and then the Celtics to come and then finish the deal. Win at home and then go back at Miami and win. That's what I expect. I just, for me, it's the taking threes. I think that, like I said, I think where Miami is so familiar with them, I think they're like, you know what, the numbers are going to say that we'll be able to sneak a couple of games because they'll shoot poorly. And that's what happened in the first 3 games last year.
Yep.
They shot poorly, and they were all consecutive games, all consecutive, 1, 2, 3 in a row. And then they caught fire. And then game 7, Tatum gets hurt in the beginning. And they just, in literally within the first minute, and they just, the air just went out, and Miami just kind of basically blew them out. But I just think that Miami is like the perfect fit for Boston, even shorthanded. I think their philosophy and what the coach preaches, they buy into it, and they play hard, they play tough. And I don't think, everybody's looking at the talent discrepancy. When you play and you refuse to play to the strength of a team, play to the weakness of a team, and you continue to do what you're doing, then you're just you're playing against yourself. Because 1 through 5, they're way Celtics are way more talented. You can even go 1 through 15. I don't see a good match, but collectively, if you're going to continue to do the same things that you've been doing all season, and you don't go and take advantage of certain matchups, Tyler Hero should not be playing. He should not be playing Brown. There's no way.
No,
he
not
should
even
be able to go.
close.
Brown should be able to go to the basket every single time.
Time.
But
Especially if they're
this
not
is what I'm
teaming him.
This is what I'm talking about. they're refusing to just settle. Like, okay, well, I can 1-2 you and step back, and I can get my shot over you. No, bully him, take him down, take him to the hole every time. All right, by you getting him into foul trouble is going to affect them. You know what I'm saying? He had 24 points and 14 assists. 14 assists, and we had mentioned that he's an off guard. There's no way he should be doing that.
I don't think he.
That kid can shoot.
Yeah, we know he can shoot,
That
but he shouldn't be
that kid
dropping.
can shoot.
He shouldn't be dropping 14 assists. There's no way, no how.
He's a scorer.
Yes,
That's what
exactly.
he's a scorer.
Yeah, he's a two guard. He's a natural two guard. If you say, okay, he's going to give you 4 or 5 assists, I can accept that. But he's going to give you John Stockton type assist numbers.
Yeah,
Nah, that
Now he's
happen.
making everybody else better.
Yeah. It shouldn't
Man
happen.
was better.
It
Mine was better.
It shouldn't happen that way. I can tell you right by the first 2 possessions to see if the Celtics physicality and their defensive their defensive stance and power, if it right away, because if I don't see them guys, if I don't see those guys closing out, and I don't see those guys up, in their shirts, then there's a problem. There's a problem. So that would be it for me. You could tell right off the rip.
Lopes, Decon, and B-Mag, real quickly. Draft tonight. What do you like to see your teams do?
Oh, I think we just hit on that earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just discussed it.
I want to.
You did? Okay, my bad.
No,
I
that's
want
all right.
to move up, and I want to take the best offensive lineman and the best defensive lineman, and strengthen our overall team. And we got over $100 million in money next year. We'll get a plug and play quarterback next year. Don't overpay.
It's really simple. We got needs, not wants. All right. We need offensive linemen, and we need a running back. In that order. I don't want to see, okay, well, this guy became available. No, it's needs, not wants. It's that simple. In past years, we could bypass it because we didn't need it. And we could, Michael Parsons wasn't a need, but he was the best available. We can't afford to do that. We can't say, okay, we're going to just ignore, our offensive line because, a stud becomes available at linebacker, a pass rush. No, we can't do that. We have to, it's needs as opposed to wants. Stick to that and hope for the best.
And for me, I want the best available cornerback or the best available edge rusher.
Who do you want for your boys?
Well, I agree with B-Mag for the first time. Now I'm only kidding. Definitely, they have a lot of issues. Let me go back for a second. There's a lot of players that they drafted over the previous years that need to step up at this time in their careers, second and third year guys. I don't really know if you're going to get in this draft here a whole lot of, from our needs, starters who are going to come in there and step in and start for you.
Oh,
So that's one.
Yeah, you're going to get
7 offensive line.
O-line,
yes. O-line's heavy. O-line's heavy. O-line is
Right.
huge heavy. And we should be able to get, so you missed it, but so we're going to step out of the norm, and we're looking to go running back second round. Running backs aren't projected to start coming off the board till the third round. But we're needy. We're running back needy. Who do we have for running backs? Right?
Dowdy. You have Dowdy. You have Davis is gone.
Deuce.
Dowdy's it.
No, Dowdle.
Deuce.
Deuce and the kid that they just signed. What's his name? They just signed a kid. I can't remember either.
Sounds like 3 practice players.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is when you think about it, and in retrospect to what we used to have. But so we're going to buck the trend, and we're going to probably take the best available running back, beat everybody to it, because it is a need, not a want. So that's it. That's it right there. Every and anything after that is plug and play. Don't be surprised if in the latter rounds you see more offensive linemen being plucked, because we don't have depth. We don't have depth either. All our depth is moving up. With people, with people leaving. So don't be surprised if you see, a couple of offensive linemen in the stable at the end of the draft.
Good stuff, my brothers. I appreciate you. Always love what you're doing here for the city of New Beed. You guys always bring the knowledge, always bring the wisdom. Nobody does it better than the three of you. So peace and love. Keep on that knowledge. Keep bringing us that sports and that current stuff that's going on in the world. And keep on taking care of yourself and your family. One love. Peace out.
Thank you, brother.
All right, thank you. All right. So yeah, that was the Celtics. So the next game, obviously, is this weekend. I believe it's Miami. They moved to games 3 and 4 on Friday and Sunday. Let's move over to the next series. Let's talk about you Bucks, Steve. So they dropped.
I was caught up. I was given false hope after game 1 because I don't think we're going to beat the Pacers.
So the Pacers found their pace.
Yeah, I think game 2 was more of a true indication of how that series.
Game 1, I believe, was an anomaly.
Yeah.
The Pacers.
It was like what Miami did last night. With
Pacers couldn't throw the ball in the water if they
showed
wanted.
us who they were. Everybody was scoring.
Pascal Siakam looked like he looked like he was Pascal Siakam when they won the title. When he was playing for Toronto.
Yes, indeed.
He a career high for points,
Miles
and
Turner played
he
well.
did whatever he wanted. He did whatever he wanted.
2 games in a row. Dame Lillard goes off in the first half and
And
takes
the second half.
off.
Well, the first game, he didn't score no
points.
points. Yesterday, I think,
Barely scored in the
he
second
scored. I think he scored 9 points. Or
Yeah,
8
but he ended
points.
up with 34 and 1 and 35. The first game, all 35.
35 in the
was a
first
blowout.
half.
He didn't have to be aggressive, but he didn't score at all. That was weird.
Yeah.
But then the second game, he goes off in the first half again and almost disappears.
20
What is he? 0 for 9 in the second half or something like that?
25
And
at
we're
half,
giving him to be present.
and then 9 in the second half. The first game, 35 at half, 0 in the second half.
Well, the good news is I think Giannis is coming back for the next game. But I don't know if it's going to.
Too soon?
Well, I think he only stayed out of the second game as a precaution.
You know something?
He needed like a week to 10 days off.
You know something? I would wait until after game 3.
Yeah, see what happens.
Because if you win, then he can rest him again.
Wait until you go back to Milwaukee.
If you insert him, so it's a
2 extra days
it's a
if you have to do
proven
game 4.
fact. Look no further than Kevin Durant, who had the same injury going into the finals. And what does he do?
Made it worse.
Made it worse. He
Yeah.
put
Overcompensated
Achilles.
and ended up tearing.
Well, that's what happens.
Cap problem.
It was the
Yeah.
same
People
thing.
underestimate cap. You when you can't put no weight on it, it's like a broken bone.
Yeah.
You can't push off. You can't.
So, if I were the Bucks, I would not panic. I would wait out game 3. That would give him an extra 3 days.
Yep.
That would give him an extra 3 days.
No, I agree.
I wouldn't be so quick to bring him back because if something happens,
it's not cast in stone, but they're mentioning that he's just about ready to come back. But that would be the best move.
and for him, he's a high intensity guy.
Yep.
It's not like
He
he's
can't play.
it's not like he's a spot up. I'm gonna take a jump. He's coast
gotta
to
move.
coast.
He's got to move.
He's Euro stepping. He's trying to dunk on people. And that requires a lot of energy on that leg.
But then, similar to what happened with the Celtics, when we made that move of getting rid of Drew Holiday and taking on Dame Lillard, we lost other people in the process, and we don't have the same bench anymore.
Nope.
So when somebody like Pat Connaughton doesn't contribute or Bobby Portis, we don't have nobody after them. We're 7 deep. That's it.
Yeah.
So where's the rest of the guys that are going to contribute? So you have to get. So now we're already down Greek Freak.
Also,
So we only had 8. Now we're down to 7. And that seventh man is playing more because he's being forced into action. The rotation is really 7 deep.
Yeah.
When Giannis is there. But right now, I unless Portis and Connaughton step up or Brook Lopez gives you an effort like he did in game 1, it's too much pressure for just Middleton's up and down right now because
You know what's crazy? Halliburton didn't even go off.
Either
12
game.
points.
Oh.
Yeah.
12 points, 12.
But
12
he kept everybody involved. He played defense.
Them hot.
He ran. Yeah.
20 points. 20 points.
Yeah, that Indiana team is tough.
20
Man. Scary.
points.
Well, were they the highest scoring team in the league or the second highest?
The
They were up there.
highest. They were the
I think they were
highest.
highest.
They were the highest.
You know they can score.
They were the highest.
The whole thing is if they decide to play anything, you take Giannis off the court, it makes it a lot easier to play defense.
Yeah. And like I said, game one, they couldn't find the hoop. They couldn't. They were horrible.
And Dame only playing one half of both games.
Yeah. So
I believe even with Giannis, I still think the Pacers beat them.
So I think this is a key. If they have any hope for the series, they have to split back in Indiana. They have to split because if they come back 3-1, it'll be a wrap. It'll be a wrap. I can't foresee them, winning the final 3 games.
And you know what's something else that's ironic? There's so many similarities with the Celtics and the past with this comment. What was Mike Budenholzer criticized for? Not making in-game adjustments. Doc Rivers' weakest point, making in-game adjustments.
Yes.
He can't gather control of the team and will them to win. They don't rally behind Doc Rivers. Look at their record since their coaching change. From 30-13, Adrian Griffith gets fired, and Doc Rivers goes 14-13.
Yep.
And
You had the second best record in the league.
And I never thought the coaching thing was a problem. It was Dame Lillard and Giannis not wanting to buy in. And when you got the 2 top guys not wanting to buy in, all because Giannis's brother had a spat with the coach. Now his brother comes to guess who's going to win, the franchise player or the coach? First year coach at that.
So I you know what? You want to hear something interesting? I read an article when I was reading up on this series. I read an article. It popped up. It said that Giannis refused to sign with Adidas because they weren't going to give his brother. So his deal with Nike is, my brother. It includes his brother.
But that's what makes it more believable about the spat with
It includes
Adrian
his
Griffin.
brother.
He said, you're only here because
wild.
your brother is the star player. Because if
That's
it was up to me,
wild.
you'd be gone. You're not one of the best 12 people on this team. And that hurt him. He went to his brother, and his brother, Giannis has that type of pull, but that's not a good way to use it. You hurt the team
That's
by
wild.
making that coach in his first year.
When I read that, he so obviously it was between Adidas and Nike that he was going to sign with, and he pitched to Adidas. My brother has to be in the deal. So his brother literally is signed with Adidas.
Yeah,
with Nike.
Who's buying the shoe?
He doesn't have a signature shoe. He's just a signee on with them.
Yeah.
So he gets all their sneakers and everything. He doesn't have a signature shoe, but he has a contract with them. That's wild.
And there's so many
That's
others.
wild.
What other number 12 person on the team has a contract?
That's wild. But yeah, so I think their only saving grace is if they split. But I wouldn't be so quick to pull the Giannis card until after.
It makes sense to go to game 4 because you have nothing to lose sitting him out, and then you have your best chance to win because he's even more healthier.
Yeah.
But how do you see it playing out for this series?
So the wild card is going to be Giannis, obviously. I think this game 3 right here is most pivotal because if they could steal one, now you give him the rest.
Yeah.
You give him the rest. You give him the rest, right? So now you rest in game 4. You come back game 5 at home in Milwaukee. Now you're talking. So let's just say they play. When do they play again? Tomorrow?
Who?
Milwaukee.
Yeah, they're on the same. No, wait a minute. They played.
They
played the same time as the Celtics.
Friday and Sunday.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Friday and Sunday. So you figure, right? If they win Friday, he could take Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off. Okay, that would be a whole in all actuality, it would be 5 days before he plays. 5 extra days of rest. You can basically throw game 4 away and call it a best of 3. All right, that would be the best case scenario.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, you lose game 3. Now he has to come back for game 4, and then probably the duration of the series with coming back on 3 days less rest. So I think game 3 is most pivotal. I think it is the key game of the series based on Giannis coming back. Let's face it, they're not going to get any worse with him coming back. They're only going to get better. So for me, I think Game 3 is pivotal. I think if they want to win in this series, you win by stealing that game and allowing Giannis to rest Game 4 and come back for Game 5.
Because not only do you get an all NBA player, but now you add more depth to your bench too.
Yeah, well, you win in every aspect. You're bringing back somebody that averages 30 points a game.
Yeah,
And
plays D.
yeah, you just win all around. So yeah, that's key for me. So I think the winner of Game 3 is going to ultimately probably have the upper hand in the series. In the series, I think it'll favor them. So that's how I see it.
All right. What we got? Other one-on-one, is that the Mavericks?
So yes, the final one is
that's the one I'm having the most fun watching in the first round.
Yeah,
you know something,
definitely interesting.
but
Even
you know
without
something?
Kawhi in the first round.
But you know something?
In the first game, rather.
You know something? For me, I don't want to get ahead of it's still the Knicks and the it's still for me, it's the Knicks and the Sixers.
People are underestimating both those teams.
Because not to get off topic, because the Sixers could have won both of those games. Definitely, they blew Game 2. They gave that game up, but they could have won Game 1 too.
Yeah.
And the games are like this. Nobody's doing this, you know. Everybody they're neck and neck with one another. So for me, that's I see this. Everybody was projecting it, but I always said the Philly New York is going to be it's going to be
that
a
was
brawl.
more like a 4 or 5 matchup. But because
Yes,
the injuries
yes,
of both teams,
yes,
they limped to the regular season finish line.
But
they're better than teams that are technically ahead of them.
So getting back to the last 1-0,
the Mavs and
1-1. I mean, is the Mavs and the Clips. All right. Luka obviously spoiled the return of Kawhi.
And doesn't Kawhi match up on him? And they got two of the best defensive players, and Luka just
nope. They don't put him on him.
Neither one.
Nope.
They don't put Kawhi on.
Nope. They don't.
Or George. They've been perennial all defensive stalwarts, and they don't even try to put one on him?
Sometimes George, but they don't put Kawhi on him. Kawhi. The crazy part about it is, right, when you think of Kawhi Leonard, you think of a shutdown defensive player. He doesn't play like that anymore. He'll play individual defense, but no longer does, we're going to take Kawhi and put him on the number one guy.
That's how he made his name.
Yeah, as a rookie.
Then when he won a championship, his role kind of...
That's when he was young.
Yes, as a rookie. But
they didn't need him for offense back.
Even when he played with Toronto, he was still a shutdown guy, and that's when he developed into a number one scorer, though.
Yeah. So Luka obviously was calling game at the end of the game too. But he had supporting cast, which is key. Obviously he had Kyrie. Yeah. Kyrie did his thing.
And I'm surprised how well they're playing together. I thought that they would implode eventually.
The wild card, PJ Washington.
Yeah, but can't
played
do it all the time.
Well, he did
Gaff, Gaff.
He did it. He did it.
He's gonna have to.
Well,
he
hit like three pointers. One in the third quarter, and then he had 2 big 3-pointers in the fourth quarter. When the shot clock was like literally at wit's end, and it's like, whoa, but yeah.
Somebody's got to be that number 3 scorer.
You have to have somebody step up. It doesn't have to be the same person all the time. It could be a different person, but you got to have that third trick pony to come in and do the things that they need to do.
And Jones was playing defense.
Yeah.
His defense is
and their length at center.
Yes.
They got 2 guys that are capable of starting. They've also, but Gafford's playing really well right now, especially with the rebounds and shot blocks. But he's scoring double figures, and Lively, the rookie. So they basically got two starting centers.
So the crazy part about it is you look at that series, and it's most relatable to the Celtics because the first game they had their way with them. Second game, same thing. I want to say they were 8 for 30 from long range, 8 for 30. And this was a team that in the first game. Everybody was hitting. They had 6 guys in double figures. Yep. Everybody was hitting threes. Everybody was, body dapping and everything, and they couldn't hit nothing. And once again, you had your 3-trick pony and your fourth guy. And it helps. It always helps when you get unexpected scoring like that. That series, I could see going 7 games. I can see the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of that happening throughout the series. I think the only way that it'll change is if somebody gets hurt. But I do see that game going, that series going 7 games. And the crazy part about that game was the ball movement was better in the first game without Kawhi.
Yeah.
There was some points there where he got caught pounding the ball, and the ball wasn't moving. It wasn't popping like it was.
Game 1, the most impressive play was James Harden to me.
Oh yeah, but we all know James does that.
Yeah, but
he'll show up
sometimes he's
some
not in
games.
shape. This year he's
He'll show up in game. Look what he did in game 1 against Boston. He dropped 40 points. You know, and then look at what he did in game 7. He had 14 points.
Mhm.
You can't do that. You can't show up every other game.
Not in the playoffs.
No,
Yeah.
playoffs.
But I think his attitude's a little different this year. I think he wants to prove that he's still elite. So when you don't have Kawhi Leonard and he steps up to take some of that pressure off, and then Russell Westbrook played well too in game 1.
Yeah.
I don't know what his numbers were in game
No,
2.
he didn't play well in game.
No, but in game 1, I watched game 1. I can't stay up for those 10 o'clock games on school nights. That's a lot. But
No.
Even on the weekends.
yeah, or at least I'll
It's
try
tough.
on the weekends.
I stayed up.
10:30, 11. That's
I,
it. That's the
I
cutoff.
stayed up for that game, and even Kenny Smith was sleeping. You see
Yeah.
that? He was like this. They were talking. He was like,
Yeah. Charles Barkley got up and threw a blanket on
yeah,
him.
got up like this. So they made all kinds of memes with him. The following day, they made all kinds of with him like this, sleeping on the side. All kinds of memes they made from. But yeah, that game ended at like 1. It was like 1:30 something.
Literally 4
And,
hours later.
I was tired. I was like fighting. I caught myself. Oh, let me sit up straight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Let me not lay down. But yeah. But that game, I could see it go. I could definitely see it going 7 games. All right, so we'll flip over
Talk about that Knicks series.
to the 2-0 series. So yeah, the Knicks and Philly, man.
Controversy.
You know something? You can say controversy all you want.
Only because that's what they're claiming.
Yeah.
but
Well,
I thought it was a scrum.
listen.
he
you're-
did get grabbed. Though.
Listen,
Maxey did get grabbed.
If you're up, so Reggie Miller grabbed.
But
people
they're talking
too.
about the timeout, and it was the coach on the other side of the court.
Wow.
None of the players were calling
This is
timeout.
what you need to do as
the
a
coach can't call timeout.
Yeah.
Somebody in the
This-
court
in
has
his
to call
press,
timeout.
in his post game, he was like, "I was calling timeout,
Yeah.
coach.
Listen,
It got to be a play."
Gotta be a player.
listen. You know what? I learned this. I learned this the hard way. Sometimes you have to be closer. Sometimes you might have to run out the box if you want a timeout. He was doing this. Okay, once the ball goes in bounds, well, it has to be a player. And I seen Joel Embiid do it. I see him go like that. I seen him do it. But at that point, the ball was already up.
Gone.
Nobody had possession.
You got to have possession to call.
You
the
got,
shot.
you got to have possession. My thing was, you were up by 5 points with 32 seconds.
32.
You were up by 5 points. You should have been able to close the deal. They didn't close the deal.
I
They were
agree.
careless with the ball on not one time, on 2 different occasions. And most importantly, you have a guy in Maxey. This was mind-boggling to me. You had a guy in Maxey, and they didn't play the inbounds. They went double team immediately. Why didn't Joel Embiid just step right up? He's a good foul shooter.
Yeah.
He's 7 feet. They weren't even playing him. All he had to do is throw it up here. Yeah, I get it. Okay, I'm going to hold the ball. No. They got the ball and immediately gave it to Maxey. And where did they tell you not to go to? The
I
corner.
don't know.
He went right to the corner. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, no, don't go to the corner. And as he was going to the corner, he was already losing the ball. I'm like, oh no. But yeah, that I said to myself, all they had to do was Maxey could have went to the corner. Joel Embiid was right there. Throw it to him. Throw it high. He's going to get the ball.
And both games were close in that series, right?
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a chance to win in game 1.
They could be up 2-0 just as easily as they're
Yes.
down 2-0.
I think Philly wins tonight. I think.
While they're at home.
I think they win. I think they're going to.
And with all the complaining about
Yeah.
the refs, they're
I
gonna
think.
get
I
home
think.
cooking.
I think they're going to. They're going to win, and I think they're going to win probably by double digits, low double digits.
Maxie's really, really impressing me the more I see him. I never thought he'd be that good of a pro. He's becoming the secondary leader on that team. Well, he is a secondary leader, but how quickly he got to that role.
But the thing was right. As soon as Harden left, he could. He
was
could.
doing it when he was there. But
Yes.
he was held
He
back.
didn't have as many shot attempts. So what the thing is, we saw it in increments, and we're like, it could be there. And then the best thing that happened for him was for Harden to go. Now he can full talent on display. And even when Embiid got hurt, same thing. Now he became the primary scorer. And once he gets that step on you, say goodnight. Say goodnight. Because he finishes well at the rim, uses both hands, shifty, everything. They've got a
confidence is just
they listen. So what's scary about both of those teams playing is between draft picks and money. Oh my God, they are going to be a nightmare next year.
For a while.
Yes,
and we laughed when they went out and got Brunson, and that would be a great deal.
So
that's your franchise.
So Philly not only has draft picks, they have money too.
They save Harden's money.
They save Harden money. Yeah,
they're gonna go Harris.
Harris is going. So they can go out and get 2 max guys if they want. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't advise
what max guys are out there?
I wouldn't advise it. Well, you've got so for the free agent class is
you'll be competing with the Knicks on that level too. They both have the money.
What's his name is a free agent, isn't he, from Cleveland?
45.
Don
Mitchell?
Not yet.
I thought he was a free agent next year coming up. I thought he was. But there's some. So not to get ahead of yourself. I wouldn't go out
like Lauri Markkanen.
There you go. That's what I was gonna say. I would go after a shooter, and then I would go after 2 B-level guys to strengthen up your. And
you
then
don't need somebody to take attention away from what Maxey.
No. You need to surround them.
You need support people.
You need to surround.
Tobias Harris
they did that with Harden, and look what it got him.
Yeah, Tobias
so
Harris.
I go with the 2 B guys.
Tobias Harris is literally just like collecting a paycheck, big money, and hasn't.
I think this is the last year too.
Yeah, it is
so
his
he
last
hasn't
year.
produced.
He's gone.
He hasn't done anything.
It's his first year there when they chose him over Butler.
Yeah, he hasn't done anything at all. His when they traded him midseason, he played well. After that, he's been a disappointment. And when he gets in the playoffs, I don't even know he's there. I really don't even know he's there.
He doesn't know how to be a step up big time player. That's not in his DNA.
No. He was always the Batman. He was always the Robin to the Batman when he was in LA. You didn't have to worry about it. He was the third scorer. And he can't even do the third scoring here. Which makes it really bad.
Taking the pressure off you. So the other team's best defensive player is not playing.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Or you should be the one with the open shots or the best matchups, and you're not taking advantage.
Yeah. So I think that whoever wins on the next person's home team, whoever gives up that one game, that team is going to be the loser. I think I'm looking for them to serve at home, but then again, if Embiid should get hurt, then it'll be a wrap.
And I hope that doesn't happen.
It'll be a wrap.
I think he came back too soon.
Yeah, but he wants to win. Came back into play. This is the time you play the whole regular season.
And the crazy part,
so he's taking the risk.
And the crazy part, you could see he's only playing at 80%.
Now, if he gets hurt again, he won't be playing in the summer for the Olympic team.
It'll be a wrap. Yeah, it'll be a wrap. So yeah, that's what I think of them. I mean, that series, I think for me is a must watch. I think I put that slightly above the 4-5 in the West because, like you said, those two teams, they shouldn't. The Knicks obviously they got the number 2 slot, but prior to Embiid going out, they were number 3 in the East. And literally,
yeah, before because Milwaukee was up there and went on the slide when Giannis missed the last 2 weeks or whatever.
They were literally right there. They were, I think, 1 game behind Milwaukee because they only had what was it?
Milwaukee lost the last game of the year to lose that spot.
Where are you, Barry? But when
he was on my team.
Comments aren't coming up.
Yeah, he was on mine.
Yeah,
when he went out, they were they had they had a good record. They were, like I said, I want to say they were third only by literally by maybe like a half game behind Milwaukee. But yeah, it's
Got
just
healthy quick with Anunoby and Mitchell Robinson.
yeah.
I forgot what they said about him as he ranks real high. I think it's offensive rebounding. He's the highest rated offensive rebounder in the league.
Well,
Getting those second shots, providing defense.
What's the center's name? The backup center. What's his name?
Ottenstein.
He comes in and all he does, he's the one who got the 2 offensive rebounds.
Yep, they both do that.
That's all he
That's
does.
a nice
He comes in and he just runs right to the rim. Yep. He's physical with it. But yeah, I think whoever breaks first on the road, they're ultimately going to be the loser. But I think Philly will win tonight. I think with
they have no choice.
Oh yeah, they have.
I'll have to be watching out in the bottom line. I think a couple other things I might be on.
All right, so the number 4, 5, Cleveland and Orlando.
Orlando's surprising me.
It's gonna be a sweep.
Yeah, I think they might.
Close,
I
they
think
don't know how to win
they're too young.
They don't have playoff.
They're too young. They're probably a year removed from being serious contenders. They'll go out and they'll try to do something. But I just think that the Cavs too big, experience, everything all the way around. Orlando's just they're just literally
They're getting their feet wet.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. They're a little ahead of their time. I think they benefited from Philadelphia being hurt because they slid right there. But yeah,
Cavs got healthy at the end of the year too.
Yes,
Mitchell back,
Donovan Mitchell, yeah,
Mobley back,
yeah. So yeah, sweet. Maybe they might be able to eke a game out.
If they win one game, that's success.
Yeah.
Orlando's been at the dormant of the league, never mind making the playoffs. If they can win a playoff game, that gives them confidence. They're going to have money next year, and they're going to have a decent draft pick. They're going to be in the middle of the pack, but they're going to be able to add a veteran. And that's what I think they need because they got all these young guys. They built their team from within.
Yeah.
They don't have no established superstars. It's all draft picks that have been for a while. Jonathan Isaac and Poncho Banchero, Jalen Suggs.
I can't believe how big he is.
No, he's huge. Both the brothers there.
He's big.
Wagner's.
Yes.
Those are all people they drafted. They built from within. And now they're at the point where them guys are getting good but they don't have a veteran to show them how to win.
Yeah. They're gonna have to go out and grab
be a
somebody.
destination for a veteran that's willing to take less money, but go to a team that you can help win.
In my opinion, and I don't think he's available, but I think Kyrie would be great over there.
If he plays with the attitude he's playing with this year in Dallas.
Yes.
We all know Kyrie's a loose cannon, so we don't know.
Yeah.
But he would have to be the number 1 scorer. That didn't work out too well.
Well, he can let Banchero be the number 1 scorer.
He
He just has
could
to
be that guy.
He has to be willing to play.
Yeah, but you know
as opposed to
something.
Batman.
But you know something that would mean that he would have to give up far less scoring. I think he's happy where he's at now because he still gets a lot of shots off.
I think he still get a lot of shots, but he just not be the number 1 scorer.
Yeah, but I don't think I don't see Banchero there yet. I don't see him. Who would you rather have the ball in the waning seconds?
Kyrie.
There you go. There's your answer. You know what I'm saying?
Close for them at the end of games. Like they don't
You
know.
know?
Is Banchero ready to take that last shot? But we know Kyrie will.
But
I still don't.
veteran leader. Though.
I still don't see Banchero as an elite guy yet.
Shit, he's 23 and 11 rebounds.
I still don't
second
see.
year.
I still don't see him as that
With
guy
the
though.
veteran presence.
I still don't see him as that guy that I'm going to
All
go
the pressure's
to.
on him
I think
right
he
now.
might need another year, maybe
yeah.
another 2 years.
But next year they'll be dead because they'll add somebody and they'll get somebody decent in the draft. There's no one great player in the draft. There's a bunch of good players. They get deeper depth and they get a veteran.
So yeah, I think they might be able to squeak out.
But I like what Cleveland's doing right now because I like them healthy. When Cleveland was healthy, to me, they were my number 3 pick in the East with the teams healthy. Because remember, New York beat them out last year in that back and forth series.
Yeah.
I felt like if they were both healthy, I like Cleveland's makeup better than I like the Knicks' makeup, only because there's no Randall in New York.
the Thunder and Pelicans. So the first game was close. The Pelicans had a chance to steal one.
And that would be a lot.
They let it
closer
get away.
series without injuries too. 'Cause
Yeah.
Zion was in that. They're hanging with the Thunder, and I think we all said the Thunder might be the number one team that's in the most danger.
Yeah,
because they're young and similar to Orlando, they haven't learned how to win yet.
Well, they put their stamp on it yesterday. They
SGA
they
plays
throttled them
so
yesterday.
well. I love watching him play.
They got a number one.
They
definitely got a number one.
they game one, it seemed like they were a little timid, a little gun shy. There was shots that they
Maybe a little
yeah,
nervous.
it could have been. Could have been.
They didn't make the playoffs last year, right?
No.
They got their feet wet now, and now
And the unsung hero is Jalen Williams.
Oh yeah, yeah.
His brother just declared for the draft too. The kid out of Colorado.
I think that that might be a sweep. I think when they go on the road,
And is Zion definitely out for the whole?
he's
that
he's not coming
reputation
back.
of always being hurt is going to follow him around.
Yeah.
forever.
street close.
Because they're a good team with him.
Yeah.
That guy, man.
You had him with McCollum, who finally played well, and Ingram. Now you got a three-headed monster.
Timberwolves Suns.
So impressed with the
Yeah,
Timberwolves.
that's crazy, man. It's like this. The Timberwolves are just like making the Suns look like shit.
And I thought they were going to be similar to OKC because they don't have playoff experience. But Anthony Edwards, I'm more impressed with him being in the league.
He's killing
Next year, he's going to be one of the top
Killing it.
guys in the league.
Killing it. He's killing it.
He might be one of the top three guys in the league right now.
Nah, you still got the Lucas and the Jokic and the Tatums and but he's on the cusp. I'll say he's top five. I just think he can close the gap even more next year.
Oh yeah, he's tough, man.
But there's a lot of great guys, and he's playing against his idol. How crazy is that? I didn't know that story until I heard them talk about it.
Called him an old ash ninja.
Yeah,
But still gave his credit. It's no secret. Everybody knows he's been my idol. He's my favorite player. But when I go up against him, there's no friends on the court.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Kevin Durant was laughing it
Oh,
off.
yeah.
Like it wasn't mean spirited, but
No,
I
of
can't
course.
over respect you and be effective. I got to take it from you. Kevin Durant's not somebody that's going to give it up lightly.
no.
But I'm impressed with Minnesota.
I see.
They're six man. What's his name? Didn't he get 6 man of the year? I think they just announced it.
Nas, what was his name?
Freeze.
Nas Reed.
Nas Reed.
yeah, Nas
Yeah, Nas Reed.
Yo, he came out of nowhere to dominate like that.
I think you might see another series where 4-0, 4-1. I don't see the Suns putting much.
I see the Suns winning at home. At
Well, that's why I said
see them
one.
Game 3 at home.
But
Bradley Beal has to show up.
He
Yeah,
hasn't- he hasn't shown up yet.
Yeah.
nah.
He's the one matching up with Edwards.
Yep.
He's got his hands full.
Oh yeah, he's just getting over physical.
Yep.
Um,
Edwards is too big for him.
Who knows
Yeah.
if he's 100% healthy? He's healthy enough to play, but he doesn't look the explosive Bradley Beal.
but he's never been at one defensive player.
No.
No,
He's
but
known for his offense.
He should be
but-
tiring out Edwards, making him play him on offense because
not
Bradley
Edwards
Beal
is
can
playing.
score.
Edwards is playing Durant.
Yeah.
Yeah, taking the challenge.
But yeah, I see that. So another interesting series, the Nuggets Lakers. I mean, you look Lakers lost
They
it
were-
at the end too.
They were right in it. They
They
were up
lost
20.
it at the end.
They were
Yes.
up 20.
Yes.
4 street close.
They
He's ready to. He's ready to mail
He's
it
playing
in.
great, but the way it ended with him falling into the bench and
This is my thing.
Miller to sell him. That was
Yeah.
a great shot by Murray.
that
He was
was-
having a bad game.
Yo, but the crazy part about it is you're up 20. You stop going to street close. Like he didn't touch. He didn't score another point after they were up 20.
He's been doing his part both games.
Yeah, he does whatever he wants.
But they're not-
ball down low. He does
They,
whatever
they
he
didn't
wants.
give him the ball.
Now
He does whatever he wants.
that second game was game 2, right?
Yeah.
They play tonight.
Did D'Angelo Russell play good the second game? I know he played good the first game.
Uh,
The second game, no.
All right.
No.
Same thing we just said. Somebody needs to be that third scorer. Somebody's got to help AD and LeBron out.
how about
One
give
thing-
AD the ball in the second half?
Yeah.
Well,
They went away. They went away. You know what happened? It got to a point where everybody was hitting that they just forgot about him. Like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna take the shot. I'm gonna take the shot. I'm gonna
That's
take
the
the
guy you can't
shot.
forget about. Yo.
Oh, I know.
they were up by how many?
20.
Yeah. I went to bed saying this is over. Lakers stole this one. Good for them. I got up
I
and they
stayed
were like,
up
what
and
a
I watched
comeback. I was
I
like,
stayed up and I watched it. I'm like, you know what? I remember I went and I grabbed something to eat. I grabbed a snack. I came back in and they started making their run. I said, I'm gonna stay up for this.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And sure enough, went the other way. But but both games.
LeBron tried to hold his own, but he couldn't do it by himself, and they
No.
just stopped giving the ball to AD.
He like anything else, he's running out of gas at the
Yep.
end. And this is what we talked about. You can't continue to play 40 plus minutes in the first round.
Yeah.
In the first round, I don't care what you say is going to take its toll eventually. Both of them guys, 40 plus minutes.
Did you see that last shot he took?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was wide open
Yeah.
and left it short.
Sure, it's the knees. It's the knees. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if they want to make this a series, they got to win tonight. It's a must-win game. Am I thinking that they're going to win? I'm thinking that they're probably going to win. They've been knocking on the front door.
10 losses in a row.
Yep, they've been knocking on the front door. I
They
think.
look like they have a lot better chance in this series than they have in the past, though.
Oh, last year they didn't even have.
Yeah,
last
no
year.
answer
Yeah.
for Joker, and
Yeah.
at least Davis is playing them well.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Davis he's forcing his will. He's like, you know what? You're gonna bully me down low. I'm gonna do whatever. I'll spin. I'll short. Floaters. Everything. Every and anything that he does works.
My thing is, you got to keep feeding them, man.
Exactly.
Bron's going to be the second guy, not
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Give Davis the wheel.
Yeah.
Let him drive.
So yeah, I think they take one tonight. I think they take one, but ultimately they're gonna lose. They'll lose. I think Denver, when it comes down to it, I think Denver just has too much for them. I think you got Braun and AD, and then after that, everything it goes up and it goes down. It's not consistent. And on the opposite end, you'll get the guys that'll be a little more consistent. So yeah, I mean, I like last year. Last year it was just like, okay, we're gonna toy with you, and then we're gonna blow you out at the end.
Yeah.
This year is different. They're competitive. They're in the games, but they're giving it up at the end. In the waning minutes, they're giving it up. But we'll see. Tonight, I think they're going to win. I think they're finally going to break through. 10 games is the magic number. So that'll be it for the playoffs. So our topic that we chose to talk about, football topic. Matt Ryan is your Hall of Famer.
He's got over 56,000 passing yards, I think it is.
More than that,
Super
62,000.
Bowl, huh?
62,000.
Is it 62?
62,000.
He's always put up stats,
He's
but he's
been
never had a defense behind
He's
him.
been an MVP of the league.
Yeah.
Rookie of the year, MVP, Pro Bowler 4 times,
Made it to the Super Bowl.
20
Should've
plus
had a ring.
TDs in all 13 seasons.
All?
Yes. And 20 T's in 13 seasons. Yes.
59 passing. 50, I got 59,000.
I got 62,792. You
I
count
have
you count
300
playoffs?
367 TDs.
Yes. So you count playoffs, you got to count playoffs.
Nah,
Total numbers.
94.2 QBR.
Yes.
That's the important part. Staying that highly rated
and
on average.
he has a winning record, 124 and 109.
Yeah.
And this is key because you look
Wait,
at
with
his
Atlanta.
wait, you this is key because think about it. Think about the guys. So the guys who are on the side of him, one guy, Eli Manning, right? Losing record. His claim to fame was two Super Bowls. He has a winning record, went to the Super Bowl, lost,
Never been an MVP either.
and never been an MVP. That's right. So how are they going to vote?
What's more important to the voters?
Super
Okay.
Bowls.
Being a winner
Super Bowls.
or overall stats? Yeah. They're equally important, but which one do you weigh more?
Yeah.
I think your career should speak volumes because you were consistent throughout your career.
So listen, so all the stats that we named off, right? Only Brady, Breeze, Manning, and Favre are ahead of him in all those stats. All are either Hall of Famers or Tom Brady soon to be Hall of Famers.
Which is number one is shooing.
Yeah, you might as well just waive the
Yeah.
5 years and say, okay, good.
Yeah.
But think about that, right? Brady, Breeze, Manning, and Favre. All right. Those
They're
are the
all
only
in.
ones that are ahead of him. So that's something to
How
wait.
many years did he play?
Who?
No.
Ryan?
No.
No.
He played 13 years.
Yeah.
Oh, 13?
One blemish on him, 4-6 in the playoffs. 4-6 in the playoffs.
That's a thing, too.
4-6 in the playoffs. He didn't have great playoff success. But he changed the culture when he went
Yeah,
there.
they
He
went from
changed the
laughing
culture.
stock to being.
He brought him to the Super Bowl.
organization.
He changed the culture. Um,
He brought him to the Super Bowl. He was up. They
Roddy
were up
White,
28
Julio
to 3.
Jones, they
25 points.
Yeah, that's correct. That sucks too. That's a blemish too.
Yeah. But you know, it's how are they going to weigh? Are they going to look at? Are they going to just single out his postseason accolades or lack thereof it, or are they going to take his full body of work?
I'm hoping they take his full body away.
Yeah, you gotta you have to take.
He's got a Rookie of the Year. He's got an MVP. 4 times Pro Bowler, 20 TDs in each one of his seasons. You know, as a starter. So, you know, it's like, wait a second, you got to look at the full body of work. You can't just say,
Can't say a
okay,
winner. Otherwise, Trent Dilfer would be in the Hall of Fame.
yeah,
Hey, I got a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Well, what
Yeah.
your body of work? It doesn't stand up to Matt Ryan.
Brad Johnson.
But yeah.
So the way I look at it, what caught me was the Brady Breeze Manning 5 thing.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's good company.
That's, you know, those are the only players, you know, who have similar stats or better in his time. And if you're giving it to those guys and you gave it to him and he's underneath, yeah, you give it to him. I like I said, when you start talking about guys that are on the side of him, Eli Manning, who's gonna be up next year.
Yeah,
He's got a losing record.
but he's got 2.
He's got those 2 big wins
against
against Brady,
the GOAT.
and that's what's
at
gonna
the top
weigh.
of his resume.
And that's yes,
Two-time Super Bowl winner.
that's
against the Patriots. both
against the
times.
I
Patriots.
don't
Yeah.
realize you lost more games than you won. Or he's
Yes.
500 quarterbacks.
He was one game. He was one game below 500. Okay, he had one more loss than he had wins, but he had a ton of interceptions too.
Yeah.
All right, his touchdown to interception ratio isn't nearly good as Matt Ryan's. All that you got to take into account. So for each player, they're going to be taken. Each player is going to be looked at differently, and they're going to look at it, you know, for what it is. For me, I say, yeah,
I say he's a Hall of Fame.
I say, yeah, I say,
Not first ballot, but he gets in.
yeah. Like I said, when I started looking at it and it said it gave those other quarterbacks, I'm like, you know what? Pretty good company in front of you.
Because Eli Manning shouldn't be a first ballot Hall of Fame either.
No. I think he's going to get it solely based on because of the fact that he beat the Patriots twice.
Yeah.
I think, you know, if you look at Eli Manning, his postseason, arguably, he probably had one of the best postseason runs
When they went 9-7
when they went on the road and they won every single game on the
and
road.
the Super Bowl.
He beat Favre. He
Was
beat
it Rodgers?
He no, it wasn't
5
Rodgers.
of Minnesota.
He beat Favre. They gave the quarterbacks. They were all he beat Favre, he beat Breeze, and he beat somebody else. Who'd they beat?
Who they beat to get to the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I don't remember that far back.
I want to say it was Favre. Yeah, they won in Lambeau. They won in Lambeau in overtime. It was Favre.
Was that the bad? Oh no, that was
No.
a bad weather game. No.
Yeah, it was cold.
Yeah.
That game was cold, but it wasn't one of the coldest games. So he beat all those quarterbacks who are all now Hall of Famers. So his postseason was probably one of the greatest runs by a quarterback. Mind you, he did it all on the road. So, I mean,
Then he topped it off with Brady.
yeah, all Hall of Famers. So that's probably going to be the thing for him that's going to get him in. Because if you go off of his regular season accolades, no, I wouldn't give it to him. Like I said, touchdown to interception ratio is not good.
What year was that? 2005.
When they
What year they won the Super Bowl as a
2007.
wild card?
Yeah, they won. They were wild. So they beat Dallas. They beat Dallas in Dallas. Dallas was the number 2 seed. They beat Dallas in Dallas. Then I believe he went.
NFC. If this is the right one, when they lost to New England and then they went on the road, they beat the Giants. I mean, they beat Tampa
Cowboys.
Bay,
Okay, Tampa Bay.
Dallas, and Green Bay.
Okay, there you go, right there. But yeah, they won all on the road,
Yeah.
and they were all dogs for every game.
23. They beat Tampa Bay 24-14, Dallas 21-17, Green Bay 23-20.
Yeah. The only thing when they won in the Super Bowl, he didn't even have 200 yards passing. At both
defense.
Super Bowls, both Super Bowls,
That
They have-
defense.
both Super Bowls, he had a little over 200 yards.
Defense did it for him.
And there we go. But yeah, so you got to look to it. All depends on what they're looking at. I don't know. It's gonna be how they kick the can. Final subject before we get on out of here. 7:54. We're gonna miss the draft. Ryan Garcia.
Can you say banana in a tailpipe?
Yeah, apparently he did.
He had everybody fooled,
Yeah,
including myself.
yeah. He had everybody fooled. And most importantly, we talked about it off air. Mayweather told him to go in 3 pounds heavier.
Yep, because that draining and dehydrating yourself makes you too weak. They're saying that's the same thing that happened to Spence against Crawford, and don't make that same critical mistake.
And he made that. Well,
Show people you're a better fighter, but don't go. The belt is so important. He doesn't need the belt right now. He showed he was the better fighter.
Well, he didn't need the belt because he bet 2 to make 12.
yeah.
Mhm.
And now,
So that was-
he's moving up anyway. He was going to get rid of. He would have gave back the belt there because he's going to move. He wants to move to 147.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the people he's calling out, Ennis, and
And this is at
he didn't call
154,
out
right?
Crawford, I don't think.
And this is at 154, I think.
He's a title holder at 147. I don't think he relinquished. He got the belt by default because Crawford didn't defend for him at 154, but he still holds the 147. I believe.
I'll tell you what. I think if he tried that tactic against anyone else other than Haney, he
Anybody who's
probably
a puncher,
yeah.
because he doesn't like aggressive. I didn't think he was winning the fight, but he was more explosive in
Just
the rounds.
just
he won.
imagine if he tried that against Hank.
Nah.
Tried curling
had-
over like
He
that.
had no. Well, we
He
saw
would
what
have
happened.
broke his rib. He would have broke his
Yeah,
ribs.
yeah, Tank would have
He would have broke his ribs.
Tank ended him with a body shot.
Yeah,
Right?
he would have
Yeah.
broke his ribs.
Yeah.
And dropped him, but he didn't respect Haney's punching power.
No, he didn't.
So even though Haney was racking up the points, all it took was one left hook to change the whole momentum of that round.
Yeah, and
It
he
was
did.
crazy.
He did it several times.
Yeah, but if it was a puncher, it would have been a lot different. You can't get hit like that, man.
Yeah, that whole dropping down technique that
Rolling your
confused.
shoulder,
Yeah, that
turning your
confused.
back.
That confused the hell out of me. I'm sitting there saying to myself, what is he doing?
Yeah.
And then as a fighter, you kind of get thrown off guard because it's like he turns his back. You're not supposed to hit.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a second. So I guess when I was watching some of the analysts talk, and post obviously a few days later, they said the best way to obviously to try to defend against that, so he doesn't get a break or he doesn't get arrested, is keep him in the middle of the ring. Because now you can move. You notice every single time he did it, he was near the ropes.
Yeah.
You can't get around him. You can't get around him. If you got him in the middle of the ring and he tries to do that, you can turn him. You could turn him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's the tactic that he used to his advantage. And they were saying you can't let him get. So as soon as he gets to the ropes, just back off.
So he was definitely more
back
prepared than any of us thought.
Just back
He's
off.
always had the skill. I just never thought he had enough heart to
They said after 3 or 4 times, the ref will give him a warning, and he'll bring you to the center of the ring. But that's the only way that you're going to stop that is if you get him away from the ropes, because once he was leaning over, you notice every time he did it, he was always in the corner.
Yeah.
So his head went to the buckle, and he was right there. So it's like, you hit him so many times, and then the ref's going to come in and say he's got his back turned.
What was the most telling factor about the fight that surprised you the most?
We
We all got hoodwinked on the conditioning or the confidence of, but there's something I'm thinking about. I just want to see if you guys, picked up on the same thing.
So what I took most out of that fight is I would say I would look at it would be more Haney for me. It would be the fact that he didn't present didn't present a whole lot of. I mean, yeah, he was.
He was
It
doing
was
the regular
it-
boxing stuff.
Yeah, it was. I thought he should have showed more urgency.
I
And he
think-
should have put more pressure.
But once he got caught, there was no pressure to be put.
And
Well, he
what
was
you just
timid.
said, I was shocked at his lack of ability to defend himself better.
Yeah.
He was winning. Then he get caught with a big punch, and all of a sudden he was in trouble right away.
Yeah.
I've always seen him be the better defensive fighter, and he got hurt when he got hit. And how could you not defend
This
what you
hand.
know's coming?
This hand kept coming down.
Yes, but you know his left hook is one of the best in boxing. Don't get hit by the left hook.
And
he
you-
didn't hardly use the right.
And you've seen the difference between how he defended it and how Tank defended it. The hand was always up.
Yep.
Hand was always
And
up.
he had to worry about Tank banging
Yes.
back. He didn't
So-
respect Haney's
so-
power.
So the thing with Tank was that hand was always up, protecting against it. And as soon as he threw the punch, the hand went up. The hand went up. He was in and he was out, and the hand went up. And like you said, he was Garcia was probably a lot more timid because once he got hit, I think that one time where he got stunned, and even after that, I don't think he really respected him. I don't think he respected his punching power.
Once he knew he could hit him, he could hurt him.
Yeah,
That gave him confidence.
There
And
was
then
no
when he
respect.
felt his power, he's like, "That's all.
there was no respect.
Why
there.
do I got to run from him? I'll just stand and slug." And
There was no respect, and he's like, "Listen, I can fire off. I'm being more effective. I'm hurting him and scoring more, even after the fact that he racked up some rounds, and it just was like, I'm not respecting your punching power, and at the same time, you're not doing enough to create a whole lot of distance, especially when you go to the 10-8 knockdowns. I mean, he got 1 point back.
9-8.
It was turned into a 9-8. But it just, for me, I know Haney is more of a tactician, but especially after he got knocked down after the second time, I'm saying to myself, you got to show some more urgency.
Yeah, there was none.
he was in trouble several times.
Several
Three
times.
times.
He got helped. He could have been
Yes.
stopped on anyone.
Well, so the second knockdown, he got knocked down with less than 30 seconds, and he survived the whole 2 minutes plus by holding on.
Yeah.
But I just saw. I don't know if that was the first time that we witnessed him get dropped like that
Be
and
in
be in that trouble
trouble,
like
yeah.
that. So maybe that was it was a learning curve for him. Moving forward, I think his stock kind of drops. I
It
think
definitely dropped.
there's a lot of people.
Garcia's not going to rematch him right away.
No.
Haney's calling for it now, saying, "Let's make it fair and fight the same." It didn't matter if he fought. Like I don't know how much 3 pounds drained you, but Garcia looked like the better fighter that night.
And
Now he's going to call the shots.
Yeah.
You want to fight me? Fight. Just like I don't
said-
think he's going to fight Tank because he's going to say,
He said,
"Why kill myself to make that
he
weight?"
says, if you want to fight me at 145.
Because now he's going to call. Yeah, that's the catch weight because he wants to move up to 147.
Yeah.
He just fought at 143. All right, we'll go 145. That's right in the middle. I'll still be strong.
the only pushback to it, but you already mentioned it, is not having the belt. But if he's gonna move up, then
There's
belt
still
is
no
just-
belts.
you
There's no
know?
belt still.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a win for him because what we were thinking, as far as how he was training and what he was doing was totally opposite. It was totally opposite. So we're the ones who got
They
hoodwinked,
definitely got duped.
and he won in more ways than one because he won the fight, he won the bet, and
He made himself a top
a
contender. again.
more attractive.
And he made more money. You know what he got paid for that fight? 30 mil.
And then add to 12.
Yeah. But the
Minus
champion,
1.5, but two
the
kids.
champion made like 10 million less than him.
Yep.
So
But that still
y'all the draw.
that still was his biggest payday.
It was. And that's why I say people can't get greedy. Yeah, you won a championship, but I'm the reason people are coming to watch the fights.
Yeah.
So what's the best matchup for Garcia now? Because we know he's not going to fight the smaller guys. So who at 147 do we think is Jared Ennis going to be the most viable? Because Crawford's been ducking him, supposedly. I think it's more the money issue, but
I think if Ennis wants a fight, because Crawford got a fight coming up already.
Yeah, because they just made somebody else the mandatory. Madravov or whatever his name.
The title holder at 154.
Yeah. So if he wants a belt, he'll beat him, and I think he wants a belt. But because he was forced to give up like 2 of them.
So yeah, I think Ennis might be the next.
Because I'm trying to think who else is in 147. None of the Charlos are that low. The lowest one's 154, right?
Yep.
So who else? Because Bud can fight at 147 and Ennis can fight at 147. But I'm like, who else is in that weight class that might be? Because I even heard Shakur Stevenson call him out, but Shakur's not coming up to 140 or 145 or anything.
He made him promise.
Hmm?
Shakur and Thing made a promise that his next fight will be against Shakur.
Not if they can't agree on the weight.
No, I know.
One going up is beneficial for Garcia, going down is beneficial for Steve. But who holds the cards right now? So how do we see Stevenson faring at? He already just went from 135 to 140, right?
I think he went to 140.
Yeah, one fight. Now you want him to go another 5 pounds?
And he didn't look that good.
No.
He's not the power puncher that everybody thinks he is either.
No. But I think his defense is a lot better than what we saw from Haney. I was shocked at Haney's lack of defense when it's obvious that the left-hand hook is the most. Just don't get hit by the left hook. He got hit by it continuously.
Yeah, in my opinion, Haney lost the last 2 fights.
Was it
Lomo? I think Lomo beat him.
it.
Yeah, his stock is plummeted in the wrong direction. And I just watched earlier. I just watched he had a celebration for keeping his belt.
Him and his father are delusional right now.
Yeah, his father's out of his tree.
Yeah.
His father is out of his tree.
Yeah, well, it is what it is, man. Sometimes you can't pick family, unfortunately.
He might turn into a big baller brand on his son.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what it reminded me of. He was the one doing the interviews. He was the one in front of the cameras.
Yeah.
I didn't hear hardly
He did the Diddy.
The shiny suit.
Yeah. All right.
The video.
We're gonna wrap things up.
But one thing in football, I'm gonna say keep an eye on.
The draft.
Yeah, no. That both the 49er receivers are in play, that one might be moved to keep the other.
Ayuk's gone.
Ayuk.
Well, Ayuk wants to be paid. There's people calling about the availability of Debo. I was reading that during the show. They'll have to eat some money, but they'll save $7 million. That $7 million can go toward Ayuk's. Because they saying the 49ers would rather keep Ayuk. So they said people are calling about both, but it's going to cost more to get Ayuk.
Yeah.
So if somebody calls and makes a good offer for Debo, $7 million comes off the books. That $7 million gets, because they're responsible for, I forgot how much. Debo's got a decent contract, but I just read that. So, but I'm ready to get out of here.
Yeah. The draft. It's already, Chicago is on the clock.
Yep. I want to get home by pick 2 because I think there could be some shenanigans.
Chicago just picked Daniels.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll wrap it up. And next week we'll have a full rundown of the draft. That'll be the meat and potato, the meat without the potatoes of the show next week. A huge overview, along with whatever other news, NBA. By then there may be series. There might be a few series that are wrapped up. But yeah, we'll do that. So make sure you tune in. If you're at home, hopefully you're enjoying the draft because we're about to do that. All right. We're out of here. We'll see you next week.
Keystone Cops getting out of the
Straight to the point, sports. We're out.
Peace.
I would like to introduce.
Okay, let's go.
New Sports New Online Radio Station.